It's April 2023 and I've travelled over 5,000 miles to stand in the middle of a 6-lane highway by an international airport. Now why was I doing that? Oh yeah, 'cause it's Vegas! 5,225 miles from London, surrounded by desert and located into the southern tip of the state of Nevada, sits the adult playground that is Las Vegas. Located at the southern end of the Las Vegas Strip, the world-famous Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada sign has been welcoming visitors to the self-proclaimed entertainment capital of the world for over 60 years. The sign was first erected in 1959, just 28 years after Nevada had legalized casino gambling and cut the residency requirements for divorce to 6 weeks. That helped kick off the party town's reputation. The area that the city and strip occupy today was once home to nomadic Paleo-Indian tribes, before Puebloan and Paruti tribes moved into the lands. The first non-Native Americans moved into the valley in 1829 as traders and expansionists pushed west towards the Pacific coast. In 1844, John C. Fremont, remember that name for later, arrived, and his writings as an explorer, politician and military officer lured pioneers to the area. In the 1850s, members of the Mormon Church chose Las Vegas as a site to build a fort halfway between Salt Lake City and Los Angeles. However, the true founding of modern Las Vegas can only really trace its roots back to the early years of the 20th century, when land next to the Union Pacific Railroad tracks was auctioned off to become the downtown area, with Las Vegas being incorporated as a city in 1911. 20 years later, in 1931, all the elements came together at once for the city, with Nevada legalizing gambling and a massive influx of workers and their families moving to the area to work on the construction of the Hoover Dam. With the prosperity of the post-war era, the town boomed with lavishly decorated hotels, casinos and big-name entertainment becoming synonymous with the city, with establishments being built both in downtown around Fremont Street and further south along what's now the Las Vegas Strip, but back then was more simply Highway 91. Though in the 1950s Las Vegas boomed more literally, as the Nevada nuclear weapons testing sites just 65 miles northwest of the city gave it the additional nickname of Atomic City. The 1970s were the start of a mega resort, with larger and larger complexes of hotels, casinos and entertainment venues being built, often by cannibalising smaller hotels and casinos that had been there before, with the Mirage really kicking off the trend in the late 1980s. From the start of the 21st century on, development on the Strip has focused on high-end resort complexes, including luxury shopping malls, all based around a single theme, such as the Venetian and its slightly ambiguous approach to the Italian city's geography. But the historic Las Vegas is still located downtown around Fremont Street, which since the late 1990s has been branded as the Fremont Street Experience, with historic casinos on the street lit from above by a gigantic 5-block-long canopy containing over 12.5 million LED lights. Just north of the Fremont Street Experience is a reminder of the slightly grimmer past of Las Vegas as a hotbed of organised crime, with the National Museum of Organised Crime and Law Enforcement, or more catchily the Mob Museum, housed in the former courthouse. The museum hosts exhibits on the rise of the mob and its impact on the US, including the wall from the Chicago Valentine's Day massacre, as well as the original courthouse where some of the hearings into the mob's involvement in everyday life in the US were held in the early 1950s. Heading back south from downtown along the Strip, it's impossible not to be drawn into the different, increasingly over-the-top resort complexes to explore their interiors and wonder what their designers were on. One of the largest is the Venetian complex, which houses 2 large hotels, theatres, casinos, museums and a luxury shopping mall themed around the Italian city. With lighting and decoration that gives off the impression that it's permanently early evening on a pleasant summer's day in northern Italy, it's easy to be drawn into the artifice, especially as sitting down for an Aperol Spritz at 11 AM wouldn't be out of the ordinary for Vegas. Completing the illusion is the canal that runs through the complex, past the different shops and the scaled down St. Mark's Square, complete with gondolas which you can take a ride on. Whilst there are many elements where the designers have taken a few liberties, not least of all the geography of the city, one area they've nailed down correctly is the price of those gondola rides, with a 15-minute sail down the internal canal costing around $140, not far off a going rate for their Italian counterparts. Outside, the homage to the city of Marco Polo continues with a pretty accurate reconstruction of the Doge's Palace, which you can wander along the terrace off whilst taking the view of the Strip, more gondolas, and slightly out of place geographically, the Rialto Bridge and St Mark's Bell Tower. In perhaps an improvement to the original in Venezia, the Rialto Bridge features a series of travellators to speed you up and over the access road rather than the Grand Canal. Opposite the Venetian is the granddaddy of a new wave of resort complexes, the Mirage, though at the time of visiting it was about to undergo major renovation and a renaming to the Hard Rock. The Mirage was famously for Homer's Siegfried and Roy, whose magic show ran at the venue for over 13 years, setting the benchmark for on-resort entertainment that others followed. A memorial for two entertainers and their white tigers is located on the edge of the complex. Also soon to disappear in the rebranding is the feature that brings visitors to the Mirage of an evening. Located in front of the hotel, the large lake and mystical gardens has a volcano which erupts every hour on the hour, weather permitting, all year round. The full show lasts nearly 5 minutes. Follow the link in the top right to the unedited footage, but here is a taster. Next door to the Mirage is the ever-growing complex of Caesar's Palace. Originally just a large hotel and casino when it opened in the 1960s, today the site has grown into a mega resort, complete with a Forum shopping centre, home to replicas of some of Rome's fountains, and an animatronic retelling of the story of Atlantis. Not quite certain how they squeezed a Greek myth into their Roman theme.
Listen to him speak of his city's ruin. His kingdom was destroyed by foolish pride.
I once faced a decision. Regardless, His fingers are made of flint. His eyes are the color of flame. His heart burns on ambrosia oil.
Hail, Father, choose me to inherit the throne. My fire conquers the darkness.
Let you kiss your every deed, and lend your wishes strength and speed.
The Forum itself is home to a large number of luxury shops, as well as several overpriced restaurants, and a pretty nice view over a small part of the strip. But perhaps its most peculiar and mind-blowing element are the spiral escalators, which take you down to ground level at the strip end of the Forum. Nearby, the Roman theme is finished off by a mini Colosseum next door to a remarkably clean Trevi fountain. Hopping over a road from Caesar's Palace, you reach the oldest of the surviving complexes on the strip, the Flamingo. The resort is home to a small wildlife habitat that's home to fish, terrapins, and naturally, given the hotel's name, a small family of flamingos, set amongst a theme of Art Deco Miami Beach. Naturally, after modern-day Venice, ancient Rome, and 1930s Miami, the next logical step is to visit the French capital, Paris. Unlike the Venetian, the design feels like it's permanently just on dusk in the City of Lights as you wander through the cobbled lanes lined with boulangeries, patisseries, cafes and bistros. After wandering the casino floor, you exit the building through the smashed-up French facade of the Musée d'Orsay, Louvre and Paris Opera House under the cantilevers of a half-size Eiffel Tower. You do start to wonder if there's something slightly more than excess alcohol in the water. Pop round the corner, and to accompany a half-size Eiffel Tower, there's a 2/3 size Arc de Triomphe, complete with manic taxi drivers. Some semblance of normality is restored across the road, where the fever dreams of themed resorts give way to just the gaudy excess of ultra-luxury in the Bellagio, whose lakes provide another free attraction to see in the city, with regular displays set to music taking place from early afternoon through until late at night.
Did you tell her that there are fountains? I know, I told her.
Inside, there's no sparing the cash as the Chihuly glasswork hangs from the ceiling in reception as though it's something every Travelodge or Premier Inn would have up. Venturing further into the complex, the conservatory and botanical gardens provide a slight sense of grounding in normality, even if the perfume from all the flowers is a little overpowering. On to the home straight now as you head towards the southern end of the strip. The fever dreams start to mount quickly as you're confronted by the many towered and much crenellated facade of a medieval-themed Excalibur. Before finally reaching a zenith in Luxor, because what speaks more of luxury living than having a hotel room located in an antechamber inside a giant Egyptian pyramid complete with obelisks, sphinx and temples. Perhaps it's best to let things calm down a bit by heading back to the Bellagio and taking in a small fountain show. To avoid a copyright strike against this video, the sound has been removed, but if you want to watch a full unedited footage, click the link in the top right now. There is, though, an antidote for madness that is Sin City, and that's to head away from the Strip and take in some of the stunning sights that lie just a short drive from the casinos and bright lights. Next time I take a series of journeys from Las Vegas out into the not-so-deserted desert surrounding the city to find elephant-shaped rocks in the Mojave, stare down on the majestic Colorado River as it cuts its way through the Grand Canyon, and catch up with the river again as it meets an engineering masterpiece of the Hoover Dam.